Okay, session is being recorded. All right. So what we're going to do today, you guys, is uh, we're going to start looking at one of the most powerful visualization tools available on the market called Power BI. So, true or false? Everybody with Windows machines installed Power BI on their computers, right? Okay. No? Oh my God, Marcos, what happened? Yeah, we kind of agreed on that last time, right? Oh, you weren't here. Yeah, that's the secret. Turns out, secret to keeping up with class is be in class. All right. But one thing that I want to ask you guys is this. We're kind of in the middle of the semester right now, right? So what I want to do is I don't remember if I did that before. I want to create a what's it called? Survey, like mid-semester survey. How class is going, right? Does it meet your expectations or maybe exceed? Who knows, right? So I'm going to make up a survey, anonymous, right? Distribute that through the email, and please take the survey. It's going to be quick, sweet, down to the point, okay? I don't want you to spend like hours and hours typing up the responses. Okay, so how things are going and any comments that you have. That's one thing, right? Another thing, the project. How is the project going? Yay? Not nay, right? A little nay. A little nay. Okay, so projects are due when? This Friday, right? Okay, just saying. You all know that, but I'm just saying that. Okay. Well, guess what happened? My faith in humanity is restored to a degree. So I reported this whole conundrum that we had last time. Remember how we tried to load the data into Power BI using AppStream, right? It didn't work. It gave us the error. So I contacted the IT, CNU IT. They made adjustments on the cloud, okay, that has to do with actually permission for the application to access the underlying file structure on the server. And I tried it yesterday, and it did work. So, Apple lovers, all right, you're in luck, okay? So, if you're running on the Apple machine, okay, if you have an Apple computer, well, unless of course you have dual boot, in which case you're fine, right? You have dual partition, right? Windows partition and Apple partition, then you can run it either in the cloud or on your Windows half of your computer, right? But if you don't have the dual partition of your machine, then what you can do is go ahead and click on the AWS. It says MS Access. Really, it's more than just access, right? And launch the Power BI, PBI desktop, okay? And it will launch in your, oh, Jesus, it's going to take forever, right? Yeah. So it's going to take forever. But in the meantime, you do have the file that we're going to work with uploaded in your Google Drive, right? If you're running on the Apple machine, okay? So what you need to do basically, again, so as this thing loads, I'm going to go back to my Scholar, right? In the folder data sets, I have posted global superstores file. It should be 8 megabyte file, pretty big one, right? So what you need to do basically, if you're running on the Apple computer, right, you need to download that file on your computer, and after that, put it up into the cloud, into the Google Drive, right? So this is my Google Drive. I specifically created the folder Power BI right here, okay, and I added, moved the file Global Superstore Orders 2016 Excel file into my Google Drive, right? And when it loads, when the Power BI loads in your computer, let's try that, right? So I'm going to do it with you. You need to do that for Windows too. No, 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 no. Don't do it for the Windows. Okay, for the Windows, I'm running on the Windows, so I'm going to do it in Windows right after we load that stuff. Okay, I just don't want to be ahead of the, because it loads slower in the cloud basically than it does on the real computer. So it takes some time. So if you don't have like Marcos, right? If you don't have the Power BI installed on your machine, you can do that actually, right?
I went to the link that you put on Blackboard.
Uh-huh.
Create an account.
Is what?
Was I supposed to make an account?
No, you're supposed to click on this link, AWS MS Access, right?
He's trying to download PowerBI right now.
Oh, and install, right? Oh, oh, he's trying to download.
Microsoft account, you might have to make one.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So you're trying to install it right now, right? Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, you can certainly do that. Install. You know, Alex is the IT professional, so he's going to help you right there. And but alternatively, you can run it in the cloud, just like right here. Okay. So I do have it, I believe, cloud loaded, right? Let's see. Like I said, it's slower, right? So let's not rush. It will work at the same pace as it. It will take as much time as it needs to take, right? Did anybody load the Power BI in the app stream? No? Not yet? Yes? Well, this one is not. Oh, okay, there you go. So this is what you're supposed to see eventually, right? And let's try loading the data. So I'm sorry, you Windows guys, so you have to wait a little bit until non-Windows crowd will catch up with the thing, right? So you can go from here, you can go ahead and get data, right? Or you can just go ahead, it's the same thing. Close this flash screen and just go get data right here, right? Kaboom. Am I recording this, by the way? Yes. I am recording, right? Yes, I am recording. Thank God. All right. So when you click Get Data, it will say, what data do you want? Well, it's supposed to come from Excel workbook, right? And then you say Connect. And from here, you will need to go to my, I believe it's this PC, right? Just like what you did when you worked with Access, right? And then your Google Drive is connected already. Okay, so you just go Google Drive, and then My Drive, and then find the folder, okay? And I placed it in the folder called Power BI. There you go. And this is my Excel file right here, right? Then I say Open. What it does, it shows me the screen. It says trying to connect with the data source, right? And it will show me the screen that shows me, here's my file, and here is the only tab in this Excel file. The tab is called Order, so I have to go ahead and click on the check mark. And this is my like little teeny tiny preview of stuff, right? That's what's in the file, okay? And then I say load, and this is where the problem came up in the last class, right? It said error, engine M error, whatever that means, right? Yada, yada, yada. So now we shouldn't see that error because it's been fixed. So the Power BI instance was updated with the permission to, yeah, so see, it disappears. And that's what you should see. So nothing really, right? Except right here in the list of folders, fields, right? Here is the name of your worksheet in the Excel file, right? And if you click on that and expand, it will show you pretty much everything, okay? So non-Windows crowd, how are we doing? Okay? Hey? Up to speed? Okay. Yeah, up to speed? All right. Nick the Greek? Okay. Okay, loaded. Okay. Now I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to keep it running just in case. All right. But this is what Windows crowd should do, right? I have this thing installed on my machine, so it's here somewhere. I'm going to the Start menu and search for Power BI desktop application. There you go. And I launched the Power BI desktop. Essentially same steps, right? So here's my actual application that runs natively within Windows operating system, right? Yeah, and I'm going to say get data, right? And now I have to point my Power BI to the right data source. Okay, so you can see that I can, first of all, right? Just like what we did with Python, before you start messing with data, right? Before you start graphing or calculating, you know, new columns or what have you, right? Any kind of analysis, you get the data from the source, right? So when we were doing Python manipulations, right? We said read CSV. That was our data source primarily, okay? So here you can see that Microsoft actually enabled us to connect to a bunch of different things. I can get the data from Excel or from CSV, right? Or from XML or JSON. We didn't discuss what XML or JSON is, right? But it's just different formats of storing data, okay? Pretty much we can store the same data as CSV file or XML file or JSON file. JSON is actually a very popular way to store the data, okay? You can get it from PDF, look at that. And then after that, well, we can get it straight from the Microsoft Access database, or alternatively, we can connect directly to the databases that can be anywhere really, not necessarily on your machine. It can be anywhere if you know the URL of the database, okay? So it can be running on the server, can connect, right? So since Microsoft owns the SQL Server product, right? It's one of the most powerful databases. It's one of the few large databases, database engines that's out there. Naturally, there is a ability to connect to the SQL Server. Oracle, IBM DB2, MySQL, that's huge in the world, right? So all kinds of databases. Look at it. You can pull data straight out of SAP. You can pull data from Microsoft cloud databases. Microsoft Cloud is called Azure, right? So all these things, Azure Synapse, PostgreSQL, blob storage, these are all, and you can see a bunch of Azure, right? So there are a lot of different ways where you can get the data from. But for simple folk, right, we're going to get it from Excel. So I'm going to say connect. Where is my stuff? So I'm just going to go straight from download, okay, like this. So when I say open, it does the same thing pretty much as what we did online, right? In the app stream. So here's my file. I'm going to say tab orders and then load it. By the way, I'm running a little bit outdated version of Power BI. This one I installed about probably 6 or 7 months ago. I'm sure there've been updates. So your computers, if you installed it just recently, you have more modern, so to speak, more up-to-date version of this thing, okay? So that's what you're supposed to see. Everybody's on the same page as me? Yay? Marcos? Okay. All right. So, okay. Question? No? Oh, I'm just, okay. All right. First of all, on the left side, there are 3 icons, right? So we're right now in the icon that says report. So we're kind of in the mode that allows us to build, you know, visualizations. And that's what this tool is all about, okay? By the way, what BI stands for? Business intelligence, right? In the modern world, in the modern corporate world, business intelligence sounds like, wow, right? Intelligence. Is it artificial intelligence? Is it like AI? No. Power BI, usually what companies mean by business intelligence is the simplest form of data analysis, meaning descriptive, okay, visualizations. You have historical data. Can you please give me the picture and maybe, you know, plot me different pictures, different charts, or put it on the same page. We call it dashboards, right? So BI, business intelligence, is really one of the most simple ways how companies slice and dice the data, and that's specifically visualization. Okay. All right. So we can go back to the to another option right here that says data. It just basically shows me the my source. Okay, this is what my table that I imported or loaded from Excel file really looks like. Okay, so in this file, what we have is, well, it says global superstore, right? That's where it came from, global superstore. So there is a company, presumably, that sells things globally, okay? And it can sell different items in 3 different categories, okay? And the categories are technology, furniture, and office supplies. Is that the same database that I gave you, right? For the project number 2? Yeah, that's pretty much it, okay? So I'm using pretty much same data over here, okay? But this time around, we're going to visualize, all right? Your project is involved with something else, right? Okay, cool. So, and you can see that in my file, I have a bunch of different columns, right? So the products that are sold, like I said, are in 3 different categories, right? Each product is either technology, or office supplies, or furniture, but also each category breaks down into the subcategories, right? For example, furniture consists of tables, bookshelves, furnishings, and chairs, if I remember correctly. I can't quite recall what's it called. Okay, technology consists of like phones, faxes, things like that. Okay. All right. So, and all of my columns that are found in the data source, they're listed right here as field. Okay. So if I switch back to the report, that's basically my canvas, right? This is a report building capability right here in front of me, okay? So fields right here on the right side, list basically in the alphabetical order, as you can see, right? Starting from C and then D, et cetera, et cetera. These are all the columns that are in my data file, okay? So note that against some of the columns, I have like icons, small symbols, right? So sigma, if you would have to guess, what does that mean? Yeah, it's some. It's a great thing for some, but like here, for example, profit, right? We have profit, quantity. That's a number. Yeah, that's basically an icon that says this is a numerical field. Okay. Now order date, and there is another one that says ship date. It has a different icon. What would you guess this icon looks like? It's calendar, right? So it's like calendar picker, okay? So Power BI is smart enough to recognize that this is like a special category. It has the format of month, day, year, right? So these fields have the meaning of the calendar dates. And if you don't see any icons, which is weird actually, because usually there is an icon to represent a categorical field. Remember when we discussed like different data types, we said data can be numerical and it can be categorical, right? Numerical data, as you can see, things like discounts, that's a number, right? Profit, quantity sold, sales, that's a number. Then shipping cost, that's a number, right? And things like country or city or product name, they're not numbers, right? They're like strings, so therefore they're categories, okay? So if you don't see anything, now that's a categorical variable. At least that's how Power BI treats that, okay? Which is actually a little bit weird because a different product, Tableau, which is direct competitor for the Power BI, it actually does have an icon for things that are categorical. It says ABC. The icon in Tableau says ABC. ABC basically means it's not a number, it's just a bunch of, strings, right? Categories. Okay, but anyhow. Weirdly enough, by the way, postal code is a number, right? Do you see that? Sigma against the postal code, which is like, if you think about that, it is a number, right? Usually postal code is a numerical field. And then also row ID is also a number, right? Well, I mean, it makes sense. Okay, cool. So next panel with a bunch of different options, visualizations. these are default built-in charts. Okay, as you can see, the default charts that are available for the users, right? They're somewhat limited. Okay, so like for example, what I want to point out is when we discussed matplotlib, right? We did really 3 different charts, right? We did histogram, which is a distribution of single numerical variable. We did box and whiskers plot, which kind of is the same thing as the histogram. The only difference is that it gives you like more limited information or more limited representation of the histogram than like the fully blown histogram, right? And we also looked at scatter plot, right? Histogram by default is not part of the portfolio of things that you can do, okay? And neither is the bar chart, but they do have scatter plot. It's right here, right? Scatter chart. Okay, but so what happens is companies that make software for visualizations, and by the way, there are like several of them. Okay, so let's discuss what are the big players in the area of the data visualization. Okay, the Tableau. Okay, how many of you saw Tableau before? Okay, Peter, Dylan. Yep. Okay, so if you took in your undergraduate at CNU BUSN 305, Introduction to Data Analytics, right? Then this is where we use Tableau, right? Tableau was a standalone company until a few years ago. And I believe they were losing money, if I remember correctly, okay? And they were acquired by Salesforce, I believe. Okay, Salesforce is, how many of you heard about Salesforce? Yeah, so Salesforce actually is a SAS product, software as a service product. So they're cloud-based basically, and this is essentially an HR application, right? So it allows you to manage your employees, you know, hiring, firing, training, annual evaluations, you know, anything and everything that's related to the HR process. No, I'm lying to you. That's called Workday. Is that Workday, right? Salesforce is different. Salesforce, it allows the company to track everything that's related to the sales process. Okay, so customers, you know, leads, quotation requests, orders, shipments, inventory, so everything that relates to the sales process itself. Okay, so Salesforce acquired, I believe, acquired Tableau, and now they probably integrated Tableau as part of their product that they originally developed, the Salesforce platform, but also they sell Tableau as just, you know, a freestanding product. Okay, so Tableau is one of the probably biggest players, most notable players in the area of BI, business intelligence, right? Then Microsoft, of course, came up with Power BI product, right? They wouldn't be Microsoft if they wouldn't take a bite out of the market if it shows the promise of the profit, right? That's what Microsoft does. Okay, they saw what Google did. They decided, yeah, we want to do search also, and they called it Bing, right? So Microsoft makes this software, Power BI, right? Then there is another one which is lesser known and it's less popular, but still one of the top 3. It's called Click. Click, like this, I believe. That's how it's spelled, Click. Okay, and then of course there are probably dozens and dozens of smaller visualization tools. Like for example, Google is trying to build something like business intelligence platform. I don't remember how it's called, or BI Studio or whatever it is, like online, you know, charting tool, that kind of stuff. Okay, so and these tools will come and go, obviously, right? So there is a fairly big market for them. Okay. All right, so what we see here as the list of different charts and visualizations is actually the result of the research. So how do they select which charts to put by default as part of the package? Okay, Well, they probably ask businesses, right? What type of charts do you use on a daily basis? So they read the research, okay? They use their own experience. After all, Microsoft is a business as well, right? So what kind of stuff would we put? Like, what are the most popular, most used graphs? Okay, and that's basically the list. And it's expandable, actually, okay? So, for example, if you look over here, get more visuals, right? So I told you that, for example, histogram is not part of their standard offering. Does that mean that you cannot make a histogram with Power BI? No, it doesn't, okay? So you can actually add your own charts and visualizations, okay? But that's kind of advanced level, so that's not something that we're going to do. Or you can download the pre-packaged visualization library from Microsoft, for example, okay, that can do histogram, and it will become part of your portfolio of your, tools right here, okay? But let's do something, right? So how about this, you guys? I'm going to create a distribution of quantities sold in terms of counts, how many units I've sold by different categories. Look how easy it is to do. So I'm going to scroll down and find quantity, Q, right there. Quantity is a numerical field. So I'm going to click on that, select it, okay, make sure that it's selected. And it immediately gives me a column chart, right? It says, okay, so all quantities, like in total, what you've sold, right? All the units, that amounts for 178,312 right there, right? Yeah, but I want to see how this is broken down by the category. So I'm going to also go ahead and click on the category right there, and we'll add category on the horizontal axis, okay? So this is how easy it is to create visualizations using Power BI. Tableau is not much difficult. So all of these tools, they're really easy to learn, okay? They have like low learning curve, okay? All right, what I can do is I can move it around, right? Just make sure that it's all, so if you click on the white area, right, it's kind of you deselect the chart object, right? But if you click inside, you select it. After that, you can move around. You can resize it, right? So you can make it bigger, smaller, everything, okay? I'm going to put it right here in the, and you know what? Let's actually start messing with, specifics, okay? So everybody got what I have going, right? Okay, cool. So, and as you can see, right down under the visualizations, we're right now on the tab that's called fields, right? So this is where we pretty much get to create, what fields do you want to see, right, in your chart. Okay, so the next one, you can see it says format, right? So I should be able to change what I see, how it looks, right? So let's switch to format, and let's kind of go through them one by one, okay? So all of them are collapsed, right? This thing is called caret, by the way, okay? So it's like, this down pointing arrow-ish like looking thingy, right? That you can press and, expand. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the caret general and, expand it. So I can manipulate the specific dimensions of my chart, right? So X position, for example. Right now it says 32. Okay, I'm going to change it to 30. Okay, and I can see it moving a little bit, right? So let me go ahead and change it to 100, for example. Then it will jump, right? So it will move horizontally. So I'm going to change it to 30. And same thing as Y position, okay? So right now it says 19. I'm going to make it 30. So you can move down. So what it does basically, position of what? Usually it's the position. So this upper left corner in your canvas, this is white canvas, this is where everything goes, right? By the way, I'm going to collapse filters. We're not going to use filters today, so I'm going to collapse this one, right? Just so that my canvas is larger. Okay, so upper left corner of canvas is considered to be the origin. This is coordinate 0, 0, okay? So, and therefore each position is kind of number of pixels. X goes horizontally from upper left corner and Y goes vertically down, okay, from the upper left corner. So I can manipulate, as you can see, width and height, right? So I'm going to make it 600 pixels wide and 500 pixels high, okay? So pretty obvious, right, what it does, okay? All right, so let me go ahead and collapse the general formatting thing. X-axis, let's expand it, right? color is, so x-axis is really about these categories, right? So, and I can see office supplies, technology, and furniture right there, right? These are my categories. So if I change the color, let's see what happens, okay? I'm going to change the color to something like orange, for example, right? Dark orange. So you can see that it actually changes the color of the labels, right? For my bars, okay? And there is an undo button, as you expect, right? So if I want to undo the changes, then I have to go back, and it will just go ahead and reset my color black, okay? Text size, pretty obvious, right? Self-explanatory. And you can select font. So it's pretty much same formatting options that you would normally see in Word or Excel, right? So you can pick the font family, okay? So change it to, I don't know, Arial or Times New Roman, whatever you like, okay? What else do I want to show you guys? Let me go ahead and collapse x-axis. No, there should be, oh yeah, title is coming, right? Title is lower. Okay, y-axis, same thing, right? If I expand that. Position, okay, let's explore this one, right? I don't remember seeing position on the x-axis, okay? So y-axis has the position. What does that mean? It says left or right, and you can see what it does. It just basically changes where your vertical axis is located, right? Traditionally it's left, so I'm going to leave it at left. Scale type, usually we're going to deal with linear, but sometimes, you know, if you're, you know, if some numbers are measured in dozens, others in thousands, and others in millions, right? And if you put them on the chart, millions will kill everything, right? So you will not even see the dozens or hundreds or thousands, right? So therefore, what happens in this case, it makes sense to transform your variable using the logarithmic function. And in this case, you know, they all become pretty close to each other, right? So, but we're going to deal with linear all the time, so there is no need really for us to switch, okay? What else do I want to show you? So same thing, right? Color, and that's the color for this font right here that says quantity right now, right? So let me go ahead and collapse x-axis. Data colors. Let's take a look at what does that do. Okay, data colors. So right now it says off, right? So what happens if I put it on? Okay. It says, okay, so your office supplies, your technology, and your furniture, they're all blue, right? Can I color them differently just for the heck of it? Yeah, let's try that, okay? So office supplies, I'm going to pick the orange color right here, right? And for the furniture, I'm going to pick green, and green is not here. What do I do? More colors, right? More colors, and there you go. Do you remember our discussion earlier this semester about hexadecimal representation, RGB, right? And there you go. Here's your RGB, okay? This is your R, this is your G, and this is your B, right? You can see B is the highest, right? Right now, 255, that's the full-blown thing, right? And 255 is FF, right, in the hexadecimal format, okay? So if I want blue, if I want green, right, I have to move the slider to the green area and just pick the green that I like. So I'm going to go with darkish green like this, okay? And there you go. And this is the hexadecimal representation of this darkish green. Okay, so this way, my categories with no particular meaning, right? It's basically like, you know, how do I assign orange versus green versus blue randomly? Okay, it doesn't mean anything really. Okay. All right. So this was data colors. Is there more to that? I don't think so. Yes. So let's collapse that. Okay. Title, self-explanatory, right? Title is right there, quantity by category. But let's go ahead and see what can we do with title, right? So this is the text, quantity by category. Okay, how about, I'm going to call it quantity sold by category, all right? And I'm going to center that like this. Okay, so before that it was left justified, but now I'm going to center that. And obviously I can change the font size and the font type, font family, right? All that stuff. So usual formatting things, okay? All right, what else do I want to show you guys? Border, can you guess what the border does? Yeah, puts the border, right? So right now it's off. If I turn it on, and if I unclick my chart, click on the white area, right, in my canvas, I can see that there is a border around my chart, right? But now let me go back. Okay, so I have to activate the chart. So click on that, go to the formatting tab, and where's my border off. Okay, cool. Tooltip. What is tooltip? How many of you are familiar, or should I differently? How many of you don't know what's a tooltip? Everybody know? Okay, tooltip is this thing. Okay, if I move the mouse over the column, right, or any, like, you will see more of this thing, right? And if I like put the mouse at rest, right, so it like sits there for like a second or two, it shows up this thing right here. Okay, that's called tooltip. So essentially, like, I don't know, for example, what the hell, like, how tall is this column, right? I can ballpark, right? Eyeball this thing, but I don't really see much details, right? So if I position the mouse and, like, you know, stop moving it, it shows me this helping window, right? It says category furniture you've sold 34,892 thingies, units in this category. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what can we do with the tooltip, right? Tooltip label color. So what's a label color? It's what's a label here? It's the word category and the word quantity. That's the label. Okay, I can change the label color. The value color. What's the value here? The label is word category and the word quantity. What's the value? The value is the word furniture and the number 34,892. Okay, and there should be another one, background. Well, background is background. It's kind of self-explanatory, right? What else can I manipulate? Remember when we discussed the what's it called? Scatter plot using matplotlib. There was parameter alpha that we specified. Transparency, right? Alpha can be between 0 and 1. Well, same exact thing here. Okay, transparency. Look at that. Right now, transparency is 5%, so it's practically non-transparent. But if I increase the transparency, it's getting like more and more faded, and I can see through that, right? Okay, so this is what transparency does. Okay. All right, and that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you about the tooltip right now. Okay. What else do we have? Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to show you guys is this. Okay, data labels. We kind of skipped that one. Okay, so go back. It's kind of in the middle, right? Data labels. Right now, data labels are turned off, right? I'm going to turn them on, and look what it does. It basically, before that, I didn't see any numbers, right? Any numbers that I could get, I had to like guesstimate it against my vertical axis, right? But now it puts for me the labels, like the quantity, right? So count, okay? So in the category 100, so if I don't, call up the tooltip, right, I can see that in the category office supplies, I sold, roughly speaking, 108,000 units of stuff, right? And in technology and furniture, I sold about the same amount. Why do you think category? Why do you think office supplies outsells by a lot technology and furniture? What do you think, you guys? Why am I selling so many more things? Yeah, exactly. Cheap and small, right? What are the office supplies? Pens, pencils, labels, stickers, that kind of stuff, right? Paper for printers. So usually when you buy like a few of them because every one of them is like $1, $5, $10, that kind of stuff, right? Tables, you don't buy like 5 at a time, right? Computers, you don't buy 15 at a time. Yeah, so that's why counts themselves, the quantities are outselling, office supplies are outselling other categories, okay? How are we doing so far? Yay? Okay, awesome. All right, so let's add another stuff, right? Let me go ahead and do now this, okay? I'm going to instead of quantity, I'm going to select sales, okay, and I'm going to select the same thing, category, all right? Sales by category. So you can see that it creates another picture for me, right? And I'm going to position it door to door. And that's another nice thing actually about all Windows, products, right? If you're trying to align them, the moment when they start, be in line, right? Same height, for example, same top, right? It shows you, okay? Now I'm going to resize that thing so that it matches, right? So, okay, there you go. So it has the same height, so it's all aligned, okay? All right, cool. And look at how I can actually, in a cool, nice way, I can, let's say, for example, I want the same formatting. Remember, we changed some things, right? We changed the colors. We made the data labels to show up. We centered the title of the chart. What happens? What if I want to format my second chart in exactly the same way? What do you think I can do? Copy format and paste the format, right? So I go ahead and highlight my first chart as an object, right? And this is in all Microsoft products, it's the same, right? I do the paintbrush, right? Format, copy, and then I just basically click on the other one, and all these things that I did with my chart number 1, they're being applied for the chart number 2, right? So I'm essentially replicating the formatting thing, okay? Yeah, so there you go. I highlight my first chart object, right? I say format painter, and then click on another one, and it just basically applies, okay? All right, let me show you a couple of things, right? So now I have my sales by category active, right? So one thing that I forgot to show you is what are our options, right? So like with the label, okay? So data label right here, okay? So my chart sales by category is highlighted right now. So I go to the format tab, right? This is where I do all my formatting, format tab. And let's go to the data labels, right? Because this is a data label, right? So display units, okay? So, no, display position, sorry. Display position right there. Right now it says auto, right? So basically what it says is, hey, Power BI, it's up to you, right? Whatever you think is the best position, just go ahead and do that. Let's see what are the options. Inside end. See what happened? So it's at the end, right, of my bar, but it's not on the outside, but it's on the inside. So what we saw before was outside end, really, okay? So if you switch to the outside end, it goes on the top of the bar, right? What else can I do? Inside center, right? And also at the baseline, right, inside base, okay? So I can go ahead and change this thing, okay? So let me go ahead and put it, let's say, on the outside end, right there, okay? Another thing, so right there it says 4.7 M what? $1 million, right? So what it basically means right now, technology bar, right, 4.7 M, that means that all the things that I've sold in technology, right, my sales amounted for $4.7 million, okay? Wouldn't it be nice if I would be able to show $ in front of this thing? Yeah, it would, right? So here's how it's done, okay? It took me some time, some Google searching actually to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my chart object, okay? And then here's another important thing, okay? These are the sales. Vertically, I have sales, right? I'm going to highlight sales in my list of fields right there, okay? And note that your, what's it called, ribbon, right? On the top, Microsoft calls it ribbons, right? You pick a menu, it shows a bunch of options, that's called the ribbon. So your ribbon changes, right? So right now it says column tools. And it looks pretty much a lot like what we see on standard formatting stuff in Excel or Word, right? So I can go ahead and say $ right there, okay? And it shows me 4.7 M in terms of dollars, right? Okay. What if I want to show, let's say, not just 4.7 M, but I want to show thousands of dollars? Can I change that? Should be able to, right? Well, let's see. Where do I go for that? Well, let me try go back to the formatting, okay? I think it has to do with data labels, right? It should, because I'm trying to change my data labels, right? So let's do the data labels, okay? And what does it say? Display units. Okay, this is where display units comes into play, right? Auto means up to you, right? Decide what's best and show it to me, okay? What if I do it millions? Millions doesn't change. Well, millions right now it says 4.74 M, right? So 2 decimals. Okay, cool. What if I change it to thousands? 4,744 thousandths. That's 4.7 million, right? So I can actually change, change how exactly this thing is formatted, right? What are the units? Is it showing me thousands? Is it showing me millions? Can I do it in dollars? Just plain dollars? Probably I can, right? So what if I say none? Yeah, none shows me, oh Jesus, it shows me some freaking accuracy, right? Do you see all these decimals? Oh God. So how do I get rid of the decimals? Well, same thing as we did before, okay? I have to go ahead and highlight sales in my list of fields, okay? And in the formatting, right, on the ribbon, you see number of decimals. Right now it says auto. If I go ahead and say 0 decimals, it will get rid of all the cents, right? So it shows me just dollars, right? So in my technology area, I sold $4,744,557 worth of stuff, right? Okay. How are we doing? Yay? Easy, breezy, beautiful, Powerpuff Girls, right? See, almost no learning curve for this tool, right? Almost nothing to that. Okay, well, let me show you another cool thing, okay? It's called interactivity, you guys. What happens if I go ahead and click on technology right here on this bar? It unhighlights, kind of mutes, right, other colors. And it does that on both of my charts, right? So I'm looking at the technology category, and it says, yeah, my man, you've sold 35,176 thingies, right? Items, units, whatever you call them, in the field of technology. And by doing that, you accumulated $4.744 million in sales, right? So it's interactive, okay? The pictures that we were able to produce with our what was the tool thingy that we used? Matplotlib, right? They were just pictures, right? You click on them, nothing happens. It's just a picture, right? This is not just a picture. This is highly interactive, right? So if I go ahead and highlight both of these things, right, by holding Control down, technology and furniture, it highlights both of these on the other chart. Okay, so these charts are not disconnected. They're hooked up with each other. Okay, you change something on one chart, it translates into the changes in another chart, right? Okay. All right, so let's try something else. Okay. So what was on my was on my plan? Okay, let's do this, you guys. Go ahead and add another page, right? So this was my page 1 of the visualization. I'm going to create several of these things. Okay. Page 2. All right. Let's do this. Okay, I want to see how my sales change over time. Okay, all of the sales. Well, let's try that. So sales is sales. It's right here, right? I'm going to click on the sales, right? Highlight sales. Which of the fields in my data has the meaning of the time? Order date and ship date, right? So I would pick order date. Ship date is like when we send this stuff, right? Order date is when the order was placed, when we generated this sale, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select the order date. Okay. By the way, why do you think it immediately plots me? You know, I'm going to make it bigger. Why do you think it immediately plots me the bar chart and not anything else? Yeah, I didn't specify, but why this specific thing and not something extra? Because what I did really is I picked order date is like a calendar, right? So in a sense, calendar date is not a number really, right? Can't add two dates together and divide by 2, find the average date. That doesn't make much sense, right? So date is not a number. Date is more like a category, right? It's a special category. It has to do with like it's sequential, right? We know that dates are in sequence, right, in the calendar, but it's still not a number, right? So therefore, what I did is I picked one field which is numerical, sales, and one field which is categorical, which is date. And it has basically rules. Okay, the tool has the rules built into that. You know, depending on which things I pick, it will find the best matching chart type from the portfolio, and it will give it to me by default. Does that mean that I have to use it? No, I can change it. Okay, so and let's do exactly that. So let's go ahead and click on this one right here, which is a line chart. Okay, so I'm going to click line chart, and there it is. Okay, this is how my sales progressed through time, right? All right, how are we doing? Yay? Is it boring? Or is it cool? Should be cool, right? So we're doing things like, you know, that you can touch, right? The difference between the programming, what we were doing so far, and that is in programming, you read the data frame, it sits in memory, right? You don't see it. It's somewhere, it's like a bunch of records inside the memory, right? This one, it has visual immediate effect, right? So you make a change and you immediately see the result of this change, okay? All right, so first of all, you guys, if you took BUSN 305, Intro to Data Analytics, remember how in this class, when we discussed Tableau, we also touched on the fact that dates are hierarchically structured. So this way, Tableau and Power BI are very similar. So my dates, if I look, for example, at my data, right? Where's my order date? Here, order date, okay? Order date actually has month, day, and the year, okay? But in my chart, it ignores month and date, and it shows me the year, right? Why? Well, the reason is because dates are structured hierarchical. And actually, the best way to see it is right here in front of you, okay? Order date is the name of the field, right? And you can see that it's organized as the top element of the day, date, is the year. Year breaks down into quarters, right? Quarter breaks down into the months, and the month breaks down into the days. So days are kind of at the bottom of the hierarchy. Okay, like another way how I can explain it, imagine yourself a database. Remember one-to-many relationship, right? True or false? 1 year consists of several quarters. So 1 year, several quarters, but the quarter belongs to a year, right? So it's one-to-many relationships. Next, quarters consist of months, right? Again, same thing, one-to-many, okay? So first quarter consists of January, February, March, right? So, but 1 month, specific month, it belongs to either quarter 1 or quarter 2 or quarter 3 or quarter 4, right? And same thing, days, right? Days belong to months, okay? So it's exactly this right here, okay? So what it does by default is it shows me my data aggregated at the highest level of the hierarchy, and that would be year, okay? So that's why I see the years over here, okay? But let me show you what can be done, all right? What's cool about this specific chart is that I can break it down further, okay? This is something that's called drill down capability. So here, okay, do you see on the top of this chart, I have several symbols, right? Arrows pointing down, okay? So one of them is single arrow pointing down. It says, if you click on this thing, you will turn on the drill down capability. So let's do it, right? When you activate this thing, it becomes kind of dark, right? Black. Okay, so what does that mean? here. Okay, so right now my chart is showing summary, really. Okay, so this point right here, the very first point, and if I put my mouse on top of that and don't move it, it shows me what? Yeah, but how this thingamajiggy called? Starts with T. Tooltip, right? It shows me tooltip. It says in 2012 sales were 2.259 million, right? It's actually aggregation, right? So it's all total sales for that year across all categories, across all subcategories, across all consumer segments, customer segments, across all the markets everywhere, right? All sales, right? So it aggregates for me on the highest level. If I click on the double down arrow, it says go to the next level in hierarchy. Okay, next level of hierarchy is quarters, right? Years break into quarters. So now it says let's now summarize the data, but differently. Okay, let's summarize the data by quarter. So Q1 sales 1.991. It's really quarter one of what year? 2012, excluding 13, 14, and 15. It's actually all of them. Okay, all quarter one sales across all 4 years, they're included in this figure. Okay, it's an aggregation by the quarters. Okay, if I keep clicking, right, it's going to the next level of the hierarchy, and it's aggregation by the months, right? So if I point to, I don't know, June, right, 1.262 million, it's total sales in 4 different Junes, right? For the years 12, 13, 14, and 15, right? And then if I go even downer, so to speak, next level is days, right? So it's sales by day, right? What do you notice, you guys? Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, throughout the month, there is no real pattern, right? On some days, you know, sales are slightly higher. So yeah, it's random, right? But what happens at the end? Kind of falls off, right? Why do you think on the 31st of month, sales are the lowest?
Not every month has a 31st.
Exactly, right? But half of the months don't have the 31st day, right? So therefore, like February doesn't have 31st, right? Well, come to think about it, February doesn't have 30th, right? So therefore, 30th is also is kind of on the low side, right? February is excluded for one, and this one basically excludes about half of the months, right? Okay, so let me go up the hierarchy to the years, okay? What else can I do? Well, what else can I do is this, you guys. I can go ahead and, instead of double down, no, hold on, let's still do that, okay? I can drill down in a different way, okay? For example, before that, you know, when I was going down to the next level, it said all the quarter ones is this sales right here. All the quarters twos are these sales right here, right? Well, what if I don't want to see all quarter ones? What if I want to see specific quarter of the specific year? Can I do that? Yes. So I go to the highest level, right? Aggregation by the year. Let's say I want to look at quarter of year 2014. So I'm going to click on that point right here. It drills it down, right? It says, okay, quarter, 2014 breaks into 4 quarters. It doesn't call them quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. It says, this is my point, January 2014. That's basically quarter that starts in January, right? Then the next one. Next quarter starts in April, right here. That's quarter 2, that's quarter 3, that's quarter 4. And that is quarter 1, 2, 3, 4 of that specific year, right? 2014. Okay? What if I want to look at my quarter 2? Well, I keep clicking, right? So click there. It says now quarter 2 is April, May, June. And if I want to see how the sales were progressing by the day in any of these months, like in June, all I have to do is just click, and there you go. These are my specific days of specific month, of specific quarter, of a specific year. So I drill down to the lowest level of data. Okay. Usually, this drill down capability is a property of the information systems run for like senior management. Sometimes they're called EIS, executive information systems, because executives don't care really about sales of every single teeny tiny nook and cranny. Okay, So from that standpoint, when executives want to look at, you know, how the company is doing, right? Like they look at KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. So they look at the P&L statement for this year and for the last year, and they see, for example, that this year our sales were higher than the previous year, but the profit was lower. Okay, why? Because we had higher costs. Why? Higher costs. They can click on the cost. It expands basically and says this year we had acquisition costs to be high, or maybe our sales were lower, right? In Midwest, for example, sales broken by geography. So they can click on the Midwest, breaks down by the state. It can go like down on the, you know, city level or on the store level. So they can start from the high aggregation of data and then, you know, go deeper and deeper and deeper, trying to get to the bottom line of like what is happening and why do I see these numbers, right? So this is an example of the drill down capability, which essentially helps, you know, managers to get down to the lowest level of data if they want to figure out what's the reason behind different things in the data, right? Okay, and let me go up to the highest level, to the year. What's this thing? Double arrow. Double arrow is expand down one level from the hierarchy. So right now I'm at the level of the year, right? If I click on the double arrow, it says, okay, now let's take every year and let's break it down into 4 quarters. So I can see that points 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be my year 2012, right? Next one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 4 quarters of the year 2013, right? So basically it keeps all of the data, right, in one picture, but it keeps adding more and more details, right? So if I go down one more level, it shows me variations by the month, right? 12 points for each year times 4 years, so that's 48 points. And if I go to the lowest level, right, and it's going to look like crap because it's like 365 days times 4 years. So we're looking at, roughly speaking, I don't know, 1,400 points or so, right? Okay, make sense? All right. Let me go up to the level of, you know what? Let's do this, you guys, okay? Can I, on the same, so what does this one says? What does this one say? This one say that every year my total sales were growing, right? Every next year is higher than the previous year, okay? Can I see how the sales were progressing by the year so that I could compare them kind of visually against each other, okay? So let's do this, okay? I'm going to do the following thing. Do you see in the in this panel right here where it says, you know, fields, right? This is where I, you know, how do I slice my data? I'm going to take my order date and add that to the legend, okay? Like that. Kaboom. Legend, all right? So, and you can see that it created a legend for me right here, right? And if I point to any, like point the mouse to any of these points, right? These are actually individual days, right? So if I point, for example, to this yellow dot right here, it says, this is Thursday, February 16, 2012. And on that specific day, overall, across all places, across all categories and all that, right, I sold $9,334 worth of stuff, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is this. In the legend, I'm going to go and say caret. So click on the caret, right? And it says order date as is, right? So keep the order date. But instead of that, I'm going to say, no, instead of that, give me data hierarchy, okay? So I don't want to look at the daily sales, right? Each point is a sale, right? Show me the data hierarchy. Okay, cool. All right. And let's see. My drill down capability is turned on, right? Do you see that? So right now it's showing me, for whatever the hell reason, quite frankly, I don't quite understand. Like my legend says that I'm supposed to be looking at 4 different data points, right? Like light blue, dark blue, then there is a orange, and there is a purple, right? But it's showing me only 1 data point. That's something that I can't quite explain. Why the hell does it do that? Okay. So instead of that, I'm going to go one level deeper. Okay. So here, right? Go to the next level of hierarchy. Okay. So right now it's aggregating by the year, right? But if I go one level deeper, right, it says quarters, right? So and the colors basically represent what? Colors represent years, right? So each year now is broken down into the quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So what do I see? My dark blue, which is year 2000, or light blue, which is year 2012, right? All the quarters were the lowest sales, right, among all these 4 years, right? And then what happened? Then the next one is dark blue, right? It's slightly higher, right? Next one is orange, again slightly higher, right, in all 4 quarters. And finally 2015, slightly higher, right? So I can see that, you know, my quarters, individual quarters, quarters 1, right? The lowest sales were in 2012, then next year they were higher, higher, and higher, right? Same thing about quarters 2, quarters 3, and quarters 4, right? But even more interesting pattern shows if you go one level deeper. Let's go to the months, right? Look at that. This is how my sales were progressing by the month, right? Each year. Do you see anything that consistently repeats itself? Yeah, in July there is a drop, right? But look at other things as well, right? So January kind of starts, with the exception of the year 2012. January starts, well, I wouldn't say high, but like optimistically, right? And then almost every February drops, right? Then what happens next is March is going higher, then there is drop, right, in April, then there is growth in May. The highest point after that, right, in June, and you're right, July always drops, right? And then it kind of starts to go up, but then there is another drop consistent across all 4 years, right? And that's in October. And then towards the end of the year, it goes up. And with the exception of the last year, 2015, December is higher than November, right? So we see the same pattern, how the sales behave by month, repeating themselves, right? How do we call this type of behavior in the data? That every year it repeats itself again and again and again. Starts with S, right? Seasonality, right? This is seasonal variations. I mean, this is not random, right? Probably, because we see it every year in the same way pretty much, right? This is not random. This should be explainable, right? Why sales drop in every June compared to, in every July compared to June? What the hell happens? By the way, any ideas why we might be seeing that? July is lower than June? What could be the reason? Any ideas? Well, people don't want to buy in June. Yeah. So what?
Back to school shopping.
Back to school shopping. That might be right in June, and then July everybody's like, yeah, we got everything. Yeah, that might be. Another reason that I always quote to students is fiscal year. There is such thing as fiscal year, right? So what happens is, especially budget organizations like CMU. I mean, I don't want to sound like we have a shitload of money here, and we don't know what to do with them at the end of the fiscal year. But you know, so what's the first rule of budget spending? You want to exhaust all of your budget, right? Because if you don't use all of your budget, next year I'll say, oh, you don't need that much money. That's great news for us, okay? So therefore, you know, it might be that a lot of companies have fiscal year ending in July, right? Like CNU, for example. CNU last day of the fiscal year is June 31st, okay? So July 1st, next fiscal year begins. So therefore, if any departments have, you know, money leftovers, then they have to spend it all doing whatever, right? Buy everybody, you know, a iPad, or, you know, load on the printer paper, do something, right? So spend all your money. And now July comes along, you don't need anything because you bought all of that in the previous month, right? So that might be the reason why we see this drop, okay? So we're almost out of time. We didn't quite go through all these things that I planned for today, but let me show you how we should save it, right? So, well, usual stuff, right? So go to the file, save as, and if you are Mac users, right, then you should do what? You should save it in the Google Drive, right? So I'm going to save it in the downloads, apparently. And there are a couple of ways, right? You can save it as Power BI file, or you can save it as Power BI template. So let's save it as Power BI. So I'm going to call it global sales, right? Global sales save, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So let me go ahead and stop the recording. Whoa. Okay.